Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Here are 10 tips for using the Passwords app on your Mac. So we've had the Passwords app on our Macs and our iPhones and iPads for quite a while now. Here are some additional tips that you may not know about. I'm going to launch the Passwords app and then authenticate. And inside the Passwords app, of course, you'll see a list of all of your passwords here. And you'll see some buttons here to the left. You probably have all selected so you can see all of your passwords. And you can search for them here or just scroll through them. But also remember to pay attention to the button here marked Security. Go to that and then check to see what's listed. This is going to list any passwords that are too simple. They're too easy to guess. And you should work to change them. So for instance, this one right here tells me that the password is just too simple of a password. Every website does it a little differently how you change passwords. So go to the site, change the password, and then in doing so, it should update the password you have stored here. Don't get overwhelmed by this list. It's typical to have dozens of things here. Some of them are as simple as an easily guessed password. Some may say that it's a reused password. In other words, a password used in more than one location, and you should definitely avoid those. And other times you'll see compromised passwords. Deal with the compromised passwords first. That means there's been a data breach with that website and your password is just out there. So you want to log in to that site and change your password. But don't get overwhelmed by this list. Take care of the compromised passwords first and then work over the course of a day or even over many days to update any passwords that are too weak or are being reused. Now, while it's nice to have this entire app here so that you can view all your passwords, sometimes you just quickly want to get to a password. And you could do that without even launching the Passwords app. So in the Passwords app, go to Passwords Settings and look for Show Passwords in Menu Bar. Turn that on. It's going to add this menu bar item here. So now we can quit the Passwords app, but that menu bar button is still there. You can click on it, authenticate. I'll do that with Touch ID here, or you can do it with your password. And you can search through your passwords right in this little handy menu bar drop-down menu instead of having to launch the app each time. Now you can use the Passwords app for more than just strictly passwords. If you want to store some secure information, you could do it. Just create a new entry. I'll do that with the plus button here and give it a title. So for instance, let's say you have a padlock, to the gate in your yard or something like that. You can assign a title like that. Then go to the password field here. Click on that and select Choose My Own Password. So you can enter in something like a security code or an ATM pin. Something like that there if you like. Or you could leave this blank here and go to the Notes section and put information there. So you can just put whatever you want here on multiple lines and save it. And it will let you save it here with just any information you've got in there. It doesn't require that you have a password or a website or anything. A title and something in the password field or a title and something in the note field will work just fine. Now here's something I talked about in a recent video and I was surprised that people didn't know about this. When you've got two-factor codes, sometimes those come from an app. A lot of people use something like Google Authenticator or another passwords app to generate those two-factor codes. And they don't realize that this is a feature of the Passwords app as well. So for instance, let's set one up here. I'm going to go to this demo Google account here and it doesn't have a two-factor code associated with it. So it's going to give me this button here, Set Up Code. But also if I edit here, you'll see Code, None, and I could set up code. I can click there and it's going to ask for a setup key. Or I can choose a QR code image. So this is a Google account. I'm going to go to the security and sign-in section of that Google account where you would set up two-factor verification. I'm going to click on it right here and this allows me to set up two-factor authentication. And you see I can do that right here using an Authenticator app. But it doesn't have to be Google Authenticator or some other app. You could just use the Passwords app for this. I'm going to go into it here, going to set it up, and you can see it's going to give me a QR code, which is kind of hard to scan in the code on your screen with the camera that's above your screen. But they know that. That's why there's this Can't Scan It button. Click that And you can see here it gives you this key. I'm going to select this key and copy it. And I'm going to switch back to the Passwords app here and I'm going to set up the code for this account. I'm going to paste it in and say use the setup key. And you can see now it shows that there is a verification code associated with this. And I see code right up here. And it gives me the code. I don't have to click anything special to get to it. So I can take this code here and confirm here on the site. It does this to make sure. As a matter of fact, I don't even need to type it in. You can see how the Passwords app right away is hooked into this and it's saying, yeah, use this verification code. So it's going to do that and you can see it matches the one that's here. And now that it's set it up, it's all set and ready to go for this account. Other websites do it in different ways, but they always provide a security key of some kind. It looks like a bunch of random letters for you to copy and paste in situations like this. Another handy feature of the Passwords app is the ability to view the history of changes. This is particularly useful when you change the password, but you're not fully confident that the website change actually occurred. So you want to save the old password. I used to always put these in notes, but you don't have to do that anymore because now you can go to an entry like this one here and then click on View History. It'll only appear there if there is actually a history. And here you can see that the password was changed recently and you can go back and look at the previous password. If you find these videos valuable, consider joining the more than 3,000 others that support MACMOST through Patreon. You get exclusive content, course discounts, and more. You can read about it at macmost.com/Patreon. Another cool thing you can do with the Passwords app is create shared groups. So go to File and select New Shared Group. And you can create a group that includes other people and just add them, or you can create a family group, your family. This way you could share passwords. Very useful for things like streaming services where, say, you and your spouse may both need to occasionally log in from time to time. You can both know what the password is, and if it changes, it updates for the both of you. So normally when you select an item in Passwords here, it shows you your username and of course the password. But some are different. For instance, if I go here, I could see it says instead of username, Apple account. What this means is that when I signed up for this account, instead of providing an email address, I simply hit the Continue with Apple button. That created a private email address, a one-off email address associated just with that account so that I could log in to that site without it knowing my actual email address. So if you use the Continue with or Sign in with Apple buttons to easily create accounts, note that you'll see them listed here as Apple accounts. It'll show you the Apple account name and the email address associated with it. No password is provided because it's simply going to use Apple's system to authenticate that you are you and pass that to the website or app instead of actually having a password. But it can be really useful, especially if you're trying to get back into a website that you know you signed up for and your email address isn't working, it says it can't find the account. Look it up in the Passwords app and you may find that you used that Sign in or Continue with Apple button to create the account originally. So you don't actually have an email address and password pair for that account. You're going to use that Apple button once again to sign back in. Now, if you have all selected here on the left, you would imagine it lists all of your passwords, but it doesn't. It's going to leave out one specific type. That's your Wi-Fi passwords. They are going to be listed under here instead. So you won't find them if you're looking at all. And if you select Wi-Fi, you won't find all your regular passwords. You'll just find the Wi-Fi passwords. This list is probably going to be long because anytime you've logged into a public Wi-Fi system or at a hotel or a restaurant, cafe, anywhere, it is going to record that. And you could be doing that on your iPhone and it's sharing it with the rest of your devices. So you're going to see a lot of old stuff here. Doesn't really hurt to keep them around, but you can clean it up every once in a while if you like. But it's also handy to be able to share the password with somebody else. So if you wanted to share the password, you could just select it here and then you could see the password and you can even click it and it will copy. Or you can click Show and it will bring up a QR code on your Mac's screen and they could use their camera on their phone to get the password very easily. There's no way to save this, but you can always take a screenshot of it, say if this is for your home network, and use that to print out a sign that say goes by the network equipment for guests to be able to use. Now sometimes you're looking for a password and you search for it and can't find it because the term that you think of when you think of that site or service isn't actually part of their domain name or isn't part of the account name. You can kind of customize how search works in the Passwords app by using the notes. So for instance, if I go into this password entry here, edit, and then go down to notes and type in just something that I may associate with this site here, then that will show up when I search, even though that's not the name of the website or the app. And here's one final tip. If you've been holding off using Apple's Passwords app because you don't use Safari as your browser, note that you don't have to. There are actually browser extensions for the Passwords app in the most popular browsers. And you actually get them right here from inside the Passwords app. Just go to Passwords and look for Get Browser Extension. And it's going to bring up this list here that includes Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, and Firefox. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. Want to know about every new MACMOST video each week? Sign up for the absolutely free MACMOST email newsletter at macmost.com/newsletter.